people up and down the valley watching the water. One of the next communities in line for trouble is Kindred, where the Cheyenne River is forecasted to hit major flood stage in just a few days. That's where we find the valley today's JC Dodd. She joins us live this morning with the very latest on how that river is doing. Good morning, JC.
Good morning, Jordan. Yes, here in Kindred, people are waking up to rising river levels continuously over the weekend and even into today and the rest of the week. I'm at an area of major concern for the town. This is the Cheyenne River just south of Highway 46. You can see how tall the river has gotten, and it is expected to continue to rise today, this morning, measuring 19.72 feet, and it will continue to rise throughout the week, expecting to reach major flood stage around Thursday, and then cresting at 21 feet by Friday. So there are a lot of houses, neighborhoods, farmland that are on edge right now, hoping that the banks that will stay, they will not approach the houses and stay behind and not cause any damage. So right now, they're just hoping that the forecast, at least as I've been talking about this morning, will keep the river at bay here in Kindred, keep the Cheyenne River away from the homes.
Yeah, you can see just how high that river is to the bridge behind you there. JC Dodd in Kindred this morning. Thank you very much. Grab your stuff and go. That's the word from the mayor of Cavalier, North Dakota, who is asking people in the northwest part of town to leave their homes to get out of the way of rising floodwaters. Heavy rain is pushing the Tongue River out of its banks and into neighborhoods. Many buildings in Cavalier are sandbagged, and there are trucks on standby with more bags if needed. People in Harwood, just north of Fargo, are under a flood emergency as well as the city braces for one of the worst floods on record. The Cheyenne River there is expected to crest later this week at 91.4 feet. That's just under the record high of 92 feet. Harwood Mayor Blake Hankey says an emergency declaration is out of an abundance of caution, and he is asking people to stay vigilant. Meanwhile, the city of Lisbon in Ransom County learned a tough lesson 13 years ago when the 2009 flood swamped that community. Their high water record is 22.9 feet. But this time around, city leaders believe they will fare better as the Cheyenne River rises. In 2009, floodwater took over bridges and destroyed homes. But since then, permanent levees have gone back in to hold some of those floodwaters back. There are still some spots without levees, though, but city leaders say they are in good shape with some temporary measures. The Cheyenne at Lisbon is expected to hit major flood stage of 19 feet either late tomorrow or Wednesday. And tracking those river levels along with the aftermath of all of that rain we had this weekend, meteorologist Lisa Green. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning. I want to show you a video sent to us yesterday from Zachary. He says, took this video, looks like from the passenger seat on a safe distance here. We're looking at, you could see I-29. This says I-94, it should say I-29, and just the flood waters coming up to the interstate and even on part of the lane as well as they're going along. And so it's down to one lane. This is about 20 miles north of Grand Forks, according to Zachary, which puts us around the Oslo area. And Oslo, we know, has been a site of major flooding for some time, and we're expecting that to stay up into major flood stage here today through the week as well. So Oslo is going to be one of those places that again stays high, and the reason we're looking at it staying level is because that water's spilling out of the banks and spreading out and approaching the interstate there along I-29 again. So Oslo is going to be an area of trouble, and of course lots of places that we just told you about. Overland flooding across a good portion of central and northern parts of the valley, and then these smaller areas of green are your river flood warning. So they're all back here if they hadn't gone away for some of us. And here's a look at just how much water we've had in April. We set some records here. Fargo, second wettest April on record, 5.45 inches. So a lot of rain for us in Fargo. We were just under the old record of 1886. That's an old one, just by about 0.04 of an inch there. Grand Forks, the National Weather Service, and the airport both set records for the wettest April on record. So records up in Grand Forks. We had almost 6.5 inches of water, and liquid water in April, including meltdown snow. Here's a look at our conditions now. We are drying out. We need a dry May, or at least for now, to get the water through the system and not add any more. We're looking at some conditions that are still a little flaky out there. You can see a few flakes showing up on the radar map there. And don't be surprised if you see some, even in the FM area where we're looking right now. It's just mostly on the mostly cloudy side. Fargo's at 33 degrees, but Grand Forks again reporting some flurries. Bemidji as well. Bemidji's at 32, so it's strange. We're talking May right now, and we're talking temperatures around freezing and snowflakes, but that's how our spring has gone. And in Grand Forks, you can see the floodwaters there from the red. We're looking at temperatures getting into some 30s to some 40s by later today. So running cool, but on the dry side, and that's, of course, the important thing. Wind will be out of the north and into the teens with some gusts. We get to see temperatures rising up to more spring-like numbers into the 60s by the end of the week. But we're also looking at some dry weather too. That system we were watching for midweek looks like it's going to miss us to the south, thank goodness. And we don't see our next chance for more measurable rain coming until next weekend. So we get a nice little chance to dry out here and get to work on fighting the flood around the valley.
Finally, some good news with that drying conditions out there. Lisa, thank you this morning. The North Dakota National Guard is back home in Bismarck this morning after helping fight a fire at a train derailment west of Minot. The fire chief in Burlington asked for help because fire trucks kept getting stuck in the mud. The Guard then had to deploy a Black Hawk helicopter with a 600-gallon water bucket. It dumped more than 10,000 gallons of water on that fire. It all started around 1 yesterday morning when a dozen BNSF rail cars left the tracks. Fire was contained to cars carrying paper products and frozen food. The part of the train with hazardous material thankfully did not derail. It was cut from the train and then moved down the line. There's no word yet on when the derailment will be cleaned up and when that section of rail track will be reopened. One man is in jail accused of following a Grand Forks woman into her apartment and then assaulting her. It happened just before 11 yesterday morning in the 2600 block of 13th Avenue South. Police say the man followed the victim into a secured building and asked for her cell phone. He then followed her into her apartment and assaulted her. That suspect was later arrested for terrorizing and felonious restraint. Anyone with information about the attack is urged to call Grand Forks PD. We have a traffic alert for people driving through Grand Forks. 4th Street North from Demers to 1st Avenue North is shutting down for the day for reconstruction of the road and sidewalk. The project includes 4 phases. It should be complete by about mid-October. The Minnesota Transportation Department wants to hear from people about the reconstruction of Highway 210 at I-94. There is a public meeting today from 3:30 to 6 at the Otter Tail County Government Center in Fergus Falls. If you cannot make it, an online survey to collect your comments will be available through May 16th. A Texas high school believes they have set a world record with its 2022 graduating class. It'll have you seeing double. There are 35 sets of twins among the graduating seniors, even one set of triplets. To document that special moment, the twins and the triplet class of 2022 gathered on a football field in their caps and gowns to take pictures. The high school in North Texas has 2,600 students in its student body. Twins happen in general about 1 in every 250 births, so there should only be about 10 or 11 pairs in the whole school. Instead, they now have 3 times that many. A lot of graduation gifts to give out there. The Today Show and CBS Mornings are just about to start, but the Valley Today rolls on. More live up-to-the-minute news and weather coming up for you on the Fargo CW. Have a great Monday. See you here tomorrow.